All right, afternoon, folks. This is Steve, and we're going to be doing another demonstration video for you here today. Before we jump into that, of course, I would like to thank everyone who is a subscriber to my channel. I do appreciate that. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and I do appreciate that, and I look forward to trying to get new videos out and keep my content fresh on a weekly or at least regular basis. If you are not a subscriber, of course, I do encourage you to subscribe. Do share this channel with friends, especially if you know anyone who's new to the practice of magic, and see what they think about it. Do hit that bell button down below there. Should be more like in this area or to the left or right of your screen there. And actually that would be like your left and that would be your right. Anyways, hit that bell button anytime that you anytime I put out a new video on my channel. After that, you will be alerted to that, so that you could go ahead and watch that new content. And I do also encourage everyone to hit that like button and leave me a comment. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I appreciate it either way, folks. If you didn't like the video, let me know what you didn't like about it. If you did like it and you wanted me to put out more content similar to the video that you are seeing in front of you right now, leave that comment down there and I'll do my best in order to get it out in a timely manner. Okay. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into the demonstration today. And for this demonstration, we are going to be doing the Master Money Ritual in Damon Brand's book, Magickal Riches. Okay, now I have done a book review on this a couple months back, but I do have a couple of my subscribers that are asking me, hey, can you do walkthroughs or demonstrations on some of these videos, just to get like an idea. And I totally can, and I'm trying to do everything that I can to get as many of these videos out, along with trying to get my book reviews and other things, plus I have to do my own ritual work in some cases on a daily basis. Plus I have my work that I do outside. I work in a food production plant. Right now we're seeing a little drop in hours because not too many people are eating out right now. But we're hoping that that's going to turn around like it normally does in April. We'll see what happens here. So again, the the Master Money Ritual. This ritual is designed to attract more money to you over a long-term period, and keep it coming on an ongoing basis, and it also can be used as a standalone ritual, or it could be used in conjunction with other rituals in this book. For instance, you might do a Master Money Ritual and then follow it up with, say, like a ritual to increase sales and profit or something like that. Okay. Another note regarding this ritual is that it does have to be performed for 11 days the first time you perform it. Okay, once you perform the Master Money Ritual, after that 11-day period, if you want to repeat it, at that point you only have to do it for a 3-day period after that. Okay. Again, because this does provide money on an ongoing basis, it does kind of does it gradually over time, but a lot of people, probably myself included, I try to do this ritual at least twice a year, so once every 6 months. I know some people that do it once every 3 months or once every 4 months or once a year. It's totally up to you how many times a year you want to do it. I prefer to do it at least twice a year to keep the flow of money coming in. Okay. Let's see some additional notes here. The ritual and the talisman that is provided for it, again, does increase the flow of money into your life, and it works by breaking down barriers to prosperity and allowing more opportunities to come into your life, and makes you a person that attracts wealth. I'm just trying to go over some of my notes here in my book. Okay, there is a particular process in how to read the talisman or look at the talisman during the ritual process, and I'll kind of cover that as well. I'll be doing a little bit of a commentary during this. Probably not too much. The ritual is pretty straightforward. In addition to the Master Money Ritual, you are going to have to be familiar with the meditation Light from the Dark technique, which is also found in Magickal Riches there, okay? All right, and for that, you need to have this talisman in front of you. Now, of course, this is my copy. I'll bring it forward to you a little bit, and you can see I did photocopy this out of the book, and then I cut it out on the paper, of course, and then I used some 2 millimeter thick packaging tape. I tried to use the thicker packaging tape to cover my sigils and stuff like that. I put kind of lined it with tape over the front and then the back, and I left like a little bit of an edge there. You could see, going around, so it kind of seals it in there. I generally like to hold these a lot when I'm doing my ritual, rather than just have it in a book or reading it off of a tablet, although you can use that in that manner. This is just my personal preference, just something to think about if you want to go ahead and do something like that. This can get expensive, though, depending on how many of these that you're printing, not just through the use of tape and paper, but through ink as well. It's probably a little bit easier for me because I have a laser jet printer, and for me, I could get my drums on my laser jet printer. I can get 2 of them off of Amazon for like $17 or $20, and each one prints out roughly 2,000 to 3,000 pages. A little less if you're printing out stuff like this. It uses up like a lot of ink. But if I were to buy those ink drums at retail in stores like Walmart or something like that, or even Office Depot, I'd probably be spending more along the lines of like $50 or $60, maybe $70. But compared to the price of an inkjet printer, which only gets like 300 copies to ink cartridge, which only prints out like, again, 300 copies at like $40 or $50 a piece, that's a significant cost. So just keep that in mind if you do decide to do something like that. So if you do have the book, this sigil should be on page 48. Okay, and I'm going to grab a pen here really quick. I can find it on my altar, and I'll bring this to you here. All right, and when we read this talisman in the book, or when we look at this talisman for the magical process, you're going to be starting at this point here, and this process is in the book. It's in the digital copy as well. I'm just kind of covering this for the video purposes here. You're going to start at this point here, and you're going to read up, and then you're going to come over to this letter here on the opposite side and read down, and then starting here at the top, this is the third step. You're going to read across, again right to left, and then number 4, you're just going to follow each of these lines down, okay, and then number 5 is this last one here on the bottom. Okay. Then, sorry, last one here on the bottom. This is number 5 here. Okay. Then you're going to be coming up to the top of the talisman. Once you've scanned all this down here, you need to come to this point, which is about the 1 o'clock point on the talisman. And again, you're going to be going counterclockwise. If you want to do this 2 or 3 times in order to get in all the shapes and the letters, that's fine. Okay. Once you've done that white area here, you want to come to this point, which is at the 2 o'clock, roughly, in the black area. And then again, you're going to go around, scanning in all the letters, shapes, take all that into your subconscious. And then again, moving into the next one, which is right here, you're going to start roughly in this area right here. This is kind of like between the 7 and 8 o'clock point here. You're going to start at this letter, and you're going to work around, and then you're going to come in to this point here, which is roughly 3 o'clock, and work counterclockwise again. In the center portion, you just want to start at the top and read right to left, going down, and then you're going to scan the entire sigil as a whole and one final step. Okay. Now in the book, Damon Brand does describe that there is a particular way that you need to envision the talisman. You want to ignite the talisman or inflame it. When I say ignite it, I don't mean for you to stick it in the candle flame. Don't be burning it. All right. Basically, igniting it is just like charging it. Okay, is what you're trying to do. So, is what you're wanting to do. So when you, I guess the best way I could describe it is imagine if someone was holding a flashlight on the bottom side of this talisman and light was coming through. That's basically the idea that you want to get here. I could go into the description of how Damon Brand puts it in the book. I don't want to confuse you. All right, read it, try to understand it. But the concept here, obviously, folks, is imagine someone has a flashlight that's on the bottom side of this talisman, and they turn it on, and this light comes through the top of the talisman, igniting it, okay, and charging it at that point. And so basically, that's how you want to view this talisman, at the point of it charging. And I'm going to cover all of that in the demonstration process as we walk through everything, all right? And then there's going to be a little bit of emotional alchemy in the in the process as well. And then again, towards the end of this ritual, you have the light from the dark technique, the meditation that's found in the book. At which point you're going to transfer all that energy from that meditation into the talisman to finish off the ritual. And we're going to, again, I'll be covering all of that as we move along here. Allow me to get just a little bit of water first. All right, so in the first part of the process with the talisman in front of you, okay, you need to remember a time when you had a great lack in your life, okay? And this is part of the emotional alchemy process at this point. It has to be some kind of poverty or pain, something that a time that you want to focus on, just to bring that you need to bring that emotion forward here, okay? So, say for instance, there was a time you couldn't afford to pay food. What did it feel like? Obviously, what did it feel like to feel like you were always hungry, or perhaps you're a single mother. What happened? When your child was there and saying, "Mom, I'm hungry." How did you feel about that? I don't mean to bring we don't mean to bring up bad memories or bad emotions in this point, but this is part of the emotional alchemy process when we get into step 4 of the ritual, where you're going to take that emotion and you're going to flip it into a positive experience, okay? Because that's where the magical process happens a lot. And I really wish that in the past people would have put stuff like this in the books, particularly like Llewellyn publications. I can't begin to tell you how many books I bought back in the 80s and 90s. That they didn't describe stuff like this. So they didn't very well describe the process of how magic works, to the reader back then. You kind of had to experiment and find stuff on your own, and it was a very daunting process. And that's one of the key reasons why I really like the books by Gallery Magic, and why I seem to recommend them a lot to beginners, even though it's more of a right-hand path kind of series, is that they make the process for practicing the magic simple and easy. Okay, it's so simplified, you really can't even simplify it very more than it is. All right, so just bring that emotion forward. Okay, so say for instance you had a time where you didn't have money to pay rent. What did it feel like? What was kind of like going through your mind? I could be evicted any day now. I don't have all the money I need. What's going to happen? You have 1,000 images running through your head, 1,000 thoughts. Okay, so you need to bring that emotion back to you at this point. Okay, and allow that emotion to rise, inside of you, and acknowledge that pain and discomfort, at this point. Okay, now you have a short invocation, and this invocation is actually done twice. First, it's done when you are experiencing the negative emotions, and then you're going to repeat it again after, again in just a few moments. So in the third step, in the third process, part of the process, you're going to say the words aloud, and the words are angelic names. And by reading them aloud and having this sense of lack from the emotion that you brought up, you're basically bringing relief from that lack, as you say the names, And make sure that when you call out the names, you call them with a sense of authority here. Okay, so the first one is Iya. So Iya Zavat Akatriel Yotzaf Kiran Metatron. Okay, now in step 4, after you've said the angelic names and the words of power at that point, to bring relief to the lack that you've brought forward in the first 2 steps. You now want to change that feeling of lack to a feeling of having something that you wanted, or enjoying something At this point, imagine something that would bring you a lot of joy. Um, if you were able to achieve it by having more money in this sense. Okay, so for instance, obviously this is to create positive emotion now in the ritual process. So, say for instance, for you, it might be getting your very first apartment. What sense? I mean, obviously, you're probably going to have a sense of, wow, this is like a responsibility now. I really need to make sure that I'm taking care of it. But I mean, I know what it was like the first time when I moved out of my parents' house into my first apartment. It was a great feeling to be in my own place, to be able to, do things how I wanted without having someone telling me, like, I had to clean my room or I had to do the dishes or whatever. Obviously, there's responsibility having your own apartment, but that sense of feeling, it's undeniable. Okay, for somebody else, it might be the sense of, I have enough money to buy a car now. Hey, I don't have to take the bus, which can be of a great significance for somebody because, you take the bus, you take public transportation, you have to leave, sometimes an hour early or 2 hours early, depending on, if you have to get a transfer or whatnot to make your connection to get to work, and then you have to ride that bus back at night, and you have all that travel time. That could be, that's a lot on somebody, especially if you're like a single parent and you are relying on someone to watch your kid when you're not at home, you're at work. Now that you have your own car, it's a matter of, hey, I can get into my car, I could go to work, and I can be back in like, maybe 25 minutes, maybe less. Obviously it depends on, where you live and how far you have to travel for your work. But, you have a great amount of joy at that point because now you feel that you have more freedom. So at this point, you need to create that new emotion of what it would feel like to, again, either be in your very first apartment or to finally have a car or whatever that situation may be. You need to bring that emotion forward. You need to feel it. You need to let it fill you up. You need to feel good about this, okay? Bring that energy forward and allow it to fill you up. Now, you're not particularly looking to create a particular future at this point. You're just looking to create positive emotion to change from a feeling of lack to a feeling of abundance and prosperity. Okay? When you finish that, okay, you need to scan the talisman at this point, okay? So again, you're going to, follow the steps in the book, as far as the process, okay? And when you look at the talisman and you scan it appropriately, you don't need to turn it all different ways in order to, make sure you read the letters. Just hold it straight and it's going to work out fine for you, all right? Now, once you have scanned the talisman at that point, you're again going to repeat the words of power and the angelic words that you did in step 3. But this time, when you read them, you're going to do it with a sense of gratitude and thankfulness. You're happy that you now have what it is that you want, or you're experiencing what you want, okay? So, again, feel that, so when you say, just, I close my eyes just for a couple seconds and I just think to myself, thank you, thank you. Thank you, I'm so grateful for fill in the blank, whatever you want. Okay, I'm so grateful for for being in my brand new apartment. I'm so thankful. Thank you. Okay, and then continue on with the words of power at that point. Okay, Zavat Akatriel Yodzavkiron Metatron. Okay, now we're in step 8. And at this point, you want to let go of all the emotion that you built up at this point. Okay? Let it go, and you need to begin the light from the dark technique. Now, Damon Brand explains that in the book. You do want to become aware of your body, aware of the sensations in your body. Close your eyes, look inside of you, see complete darkness, okay, at that point. And then see that darkness as expansive as the universe, okay? You want to see nothing but darkness. And then you're slowly going to bring light into that darkness and allow that light to fill you up and become brighter and brighter and brighter until you have nothing but white light. Okay. Now, he does make a point in the book to tell you, if you can't imagine that empty space or you can't imagine that darkness, just know that it's there. Okay. You could tell yourself a story to make it happen. To say, hey, I'm looking inside myself. There's this complete blackness. It's vast. It's expansive. And then just feel it for a moment or two, and then again continue on with that story. Hey, there's I see a pinprick of light or whatever, and see that tiny bit of light slowly expand inside of you, filling you up, getting bigger, getting brighter, filling you up until you're filled with white light. Okay. Okay, and the light from the darkness technique obviously can be used for a lot of things. It can be used for charging just like other talismans in general. I've used it for charging crystals sometimes and sigils, other things like that. But once you've got that white light filled up, you need to direct it into the talisman at this point. So you want to make sure that that is still in front of you. So once you have that, you need to he describes it as putting your arms out at chest level with your arms like at a 45-degree angle, something similar to this, okay, with your palms facing down. And as you breathe out and as you exhale, just push this white energy out into the talisman in front of you. Okay, if you could do it in 1 or 2 breaths, that's basically what you're looking to get done here. So just you have it in front of you. And that's it. Just see that being absorbed by the talisman at that point. Okay, if you need to do it again, some people have a little, they have extra energy still. You can, dump that extra energy into the talisman to charge it a little bit more, but you really don't need to. At that point, the ritual is completed for the day. And then you just put everything away, put the sigil away, put the close your book, and you're good to go. Again, this does need to be performed for 11 days consecutively when you begin it the first time. Okay, and then when you look to repeat it again, either in 3 months or 6 months or a year, depending on how long you want to do this, or depending on how often you want to repeat it, it only needs to be done for 3 days at that point. Okay, so with that, folks, that's going to be the demonstration for the Master Money Ritual as described in the Magickal Riches book by Damon Brand. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, obviously leave them below. And with that, folks, do take care. And we'll be seeing you again in the next video. Take care now, and infernal blessings. Bye.